Welcome to the Divine Style Podcast with Gerlinda, Stella, personal stylist and self-love coach, and Alison, Maiden, psychic medium, spiritual healer and metaphysical teacher. Each episode you'll experience spiritual lessons to cultivate self-love and self-expression so you can become the best version of you.
Hello, I'm Gerlinda.
And I'm Alison.
This week we are talking all about the third eye. Now this is about your inner vision and your intuition, so that inner seeing.
Yes, your clairvoyance. So clair meaning, of course, to see. Clairvoyancy is all about your ability to see from where you're sitting at the moment in your life. Flashes of the future, or perhaps if you go down a certain path, how that's going to end up for you. There's lots of people out there calling themselves clairvoyant. That basically means when you go and see them that they can look into the future for you. And their third eye is open and active.
And you were born with this one open and active, weren't you?
Yes, most of them were. Although it can happen later in life where you can heal it, whatever's blocking it. Being past life, usually issues of, persecution for being psychic. And then that people's psychic vision have opened up. They can see everything again. So this happens a lot in Reiki. When we do our Reiki courses, we find that people who, they'll sit there in Reiki going, I haven't seen anything. I can't see a thing. It's all black. And you get other people going, oh my gosh, I saw all these colours and blah, blah, blah. And they'll go on and on about all these different visions they're having. And so the ones that can't see anything are very jealous, and they want to be able to know how they can do that. So over the course of the healing, you'll find that as the third eye opens, then you are able to see more. You'll be able to see colours when you close your eyes. You'll be able to dream more. And, of course, sometimes you'll get flashes of different things. So one of the first things I remember when I was very, very young, and I suppose this was probably one of the first indications that I did have a gift, was that I could actually get visions of people before they came to the house or before they rang.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'd say to my mum, oh, my brother's going to ring. And she'd be like, no, he's at work. And I'd say, no, he'll ring. And sure enough, there he was on the phone with her in the next 5 minutes. So those sorts of things that happen to you, the precognitive type stuff, that's what the third eye is about.
And I grew up with a mother that was very, very intuitive. So she used to say things like that all the time, like know who was going to be on the phone. She'd she'd turn left instead of right in some instances, and there'd be someone that needed our help. But your third eye is located sort of right above your nose, isn't it? Right in the middle of, not quite the middle of your forehead.
Yeah, it's about the middle of the forehead, depending on how big your forehead is. It's all relative. But it is, yeah. It's above. It's not in the bridge of the nose, as some people think that the some religions, I think the Hindu religion, they wear a dot in the middle here. That's actually the intelligence chakra, the outer mirror. So it's not actually your third eye. Your third eye is in the center of the forehead. And it actually, if you look at the energetic aspect of the third eye, it's the center of the forehead. But we actually do have a third eye inside the brain. So that's called the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is shaped a little bit like a pine cone, hence its name. But the really interesting thing about it is that it's virtually an eye. So it has water inside, or gel-like substance, which our eyes do as well. And the inner lining of the pineal gland is full of these little tiny cells called rods and cones that can actually detect light, same as inside your actual eye, and turn it into shapes. We'll feed it through to the brain so that it can be turned into shapes and recognise what that is. So when you think about it, why would you have an eye in the middle of your brain? Because no light can enter there technically, right?
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. So we think about what sort of light can come in to that particular area, and it would be through the crown chakra. So it's energetic light. So when we are looking at it from that perspective, energy is taken through the crown chakra into the third eye and turned into pictures, and that's where you get your messages from spirit.
That is so cool. And I do believe the more that you can heal this area, the more that you can see. I mean, I know that from a child, I have been able to see things when I shut my eyes, and I was very good with imagination and story. But I know since going through Reiki and that process, how clear those pictures and the colours and everything can become. And obviously using my other senses as well, you can really get a whole picture of, including, you know, senses in terms of feeling senses as well.
Yeah, well, it all works together, definitely. And usually people have, of course, more than one psychic ability, as we've spoken about in previous podcasts. But the ones that have the predominant clairvoyance, they will tend to sort of use that more than the other feelings because it's easier, it's quicker, you know, to be able to see something is much quicker than a feeling. You have to sort of sit there and go, okay, who is it? Got to work it out, you know.
What does this mean?
What does it mean?
With this particular one, how does it show up when it's blocked? So obviously the not being able to see that you spoke about at the start. So when you are maybe attempting to meditate or doing, you know, those sorts of visions or even guided meditations, if you can't see those pictures, that's one way that you might know that it's being blocked.
Yeah.
What are some other ways that it might show up?
It can show up as headaches and migraines in particular. Sometimes we have like a chakra that's half open, if you like. So you do get some of those visions. Sometimes, very randomly, it may be. You can't call upon them. You know, when I say call upon them, it's like when I start getting into a reading with someone, I don't actually physically look at people. I tend to sort of fix my eyes on a point, and then my physical eyes sort of switch off and my third eye takes over and I get vision that way. It's like a movie playing out, if you like. And so it's very different to see with your third eye than it is with your physical eyes. And that's what people get confused with. So sooner or later, once you've sort of, you know, opened it up fully and you're using it constantly, you'll tend to get a blend of both, where your physical eyes will often see something out the corner of your eye, okay, your peripheral vision. And that's your third eye seeing a spirit or seeing something that is not physically there.
Incredible. When I first started to do this technique, and even with readings, I would say that it's like having a memory. It's like remembering something, but it's not your own memory.
Correct.
Because it comes up like those sort of pictures. Like you can, you know, the smells, the sounds, the taste, and when you're seeing it, it reminds me of a memory.
And it's interesting too that when you've got strong clairvoyancy, it'll sometimes kick in those other psychic senses, as you just said. You'll get a vision of it and then you may smell something, or you'll get a vision of it and then you may hear something, you know, or you'll get the feeling that goes along with that. So it sort of leads you into whatever that might be. And I tend to get descriptions of people quite accurately through this medium. So it's, you know, when I see people in spirit world, for instance, or they'll show me something really strange about themselves, like someone had 6 toes.
Oh,
yeah. So I'll see this foot with 6 toes, and I'll say, I'm seeing a foot with 6 toes. Oh yeah, that was my grandma. She had an extra toe. You know, it's just like they'll give you these weird little quirky things. So it guarantees that you are definitely talking to that person.
Yes, and the description is really helpful. When I've gone to your shows, it is amazing to see how descriptive you can be. I still remember there was once you were talking about a gentleman, and you're like, I'm seeing this little short man, and I'm seeing tomatoes, and that he was a little Italian man that grew tomatoes. It was so great that they can show you so
that's
clearly.
Right. And when they give you those quirky things that no one else would know, of course, that sort of really guarantees that you're speaking to their person or their relative. And I think that, you know, any of these visions that are given to you needs to be taken very much to heart, you know, because if you're seeing something that's out of the blue, you're not thinking about it, you're not having any preconceived idea about what it could be, and it just jumps into your brain, then you know that there's a message there, and it's an important one that you've got to take notice of.
And dreaming is this one too, isn't it?
Yeah, dreaming can be very precognitive, and over the years, I've had lots of dreams that have actually come true. You had a dream about me last night that I hope does. Well, it's impossible. It can't come true. Shouldn't have had a baby.
I did dream you were pregnant and having a baby.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to adopt.
No. I think 4 children are enough. But that is also, it could be that they're telling you to tell me that the new project that I'm working on is going to take form and actually be birthed, which is the baby.
Makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is interpretive, very much so. And so, you know, when you're talking to people about what you're seeing something that you don't know anything about. You have no idea what this means. You need to tell them what you're seeing. So you can just say, I am seeing a picket fence, okay? it's just a picket fence. And they'll go, oh my God, I was just telling my husband the other day I want a house with a white picket fence. Those things will mean something to somebody, even though it doesn't mean anything to you. So it's important always to voice what you're seeing. If you're seeing things that are really nasty, like if you've seen, an accident, or if you've seen a death, sometimes you can see someone lying in a hospital bed and, they don't look so good. You've got to be real careful about those things. So you have to be careful how you word things sometimes. Or you could say, I'm seeing someone in a hospital bed. Has anyone in your family been ill lately? Rather than, someone's dead.
Yes.
I mean, you just got to be careful about that.
And sometimes it might not even be that person. It could be someone you meet later that day, because obviously when it's clairvoyance, it could be something in the future. So you don't want to maybe scare the person you're having coffee with. It could even be the person sitting behind you. I know that you've said this happens to you often. You'll be like, is this you? Oh, no, it must be that person sitting over there.
Yeah. I mean, you got, multiple spirit guides moving around people daily. And if you're very in tune with things, they will use you. They go, oh, look, there's a telephone. I'll just make a call. Okay. So, you'll get images and things like that. Not always able to pass them on. So that's something to remember. You've got the images there for a purpose, but perhaps either the person is not known to you, and I've talked about these things before. There's ethics involved with this work. We don't just go out and blurt things out to people in the street. Maybe they didn't want to know. And there's a lot of people out there that really don't want to know. They would prefer to keep it all as a surprise. So you think that just because you're having the vision that it needs to be said, well, just think again, and you have to get permission from those people before you start blurting out information.
Can this show up when we're talking about the third eye being potentially blocked or underactive? Can this show up in relationships in any way, or is it relationship to spirit?
It's really more about your relationship to spirit. But then don't forget, spirit are very invested in your happiness. So if you are looking for a new partner, or if you're, I remember having a dream about my partner before we got together. And we were known to each other because we knew each other for a long time. Never in a romantic sense, but it was always sort of like the sliding doors thing, where you didn't quite get there or you didn't quite meet, but then all of a sudden at the right time it happens. And I do recall having a very intensive dream about him being in the house and being, a part of the house. And I was thinking, why is he here? In my dream, I was like, okay, I know you, but why are you in my house washing the dishes?
He still does that. That's amazing.
He does that often, yes. So, you can definitely get glimpses of your future through your dreams, or even just flashes sometimes. You might be standing at the sink doing things or whatever, and you'll get a flash, and that can be either a guide saying to you, hey, you need to concentrate on this, or it could be a glimpse of what's going to happen, down the track. And that's only in hindsight that you can sort of go back and go, oh, yeah, I saw that,
I've got a friend that's very clairvoyant, and she was driving through a set of traffic lights, and she got this overwhelming smell of fuel, like petrol, and then she sort of just had this bad feeling come over her, and she saw an accident.
Right.
And then the next day, overnight, there was a severe accident. And so I think sometimes it can be really scary when you start getting this confirmation that these things happen. And
absolutely, for sure. And, like as we say, there's always free will in the world as well. So if you're getting those sorts of warnings, if you know the person involved, or if you think you know who it could be, you can change that path by giving that warning. So the free will comes into the play. If somebody is meant to be here for a long time, and their free will has actually changed the path and that they may exit, spirit sometimes will intervene with that, get a message through someone that will listen, and then they can give that message to that person. And I always say it's like planting a seed. Even if the person doesn't actually believe in any of this stuff, let's face it, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I saw you in an accident, I had a vision about it or a dream about it, I really want you to be careful, you're going to be careful.
You are going to be more careful, definitely.
Regardless of whether you think it's rubbish or not, you still will do that because you've planted that seed.
And also not to feel bad if you are getting the messages and it's not for a particular person, because sometimes spirit are just letting you know that you actually have this gift and that you are able to see.
It sometimes makes more sense later, always later. Because, when you see the future, of course, it's got to happen before it makes sense. So how do you open things up? Well, basically, as we said, Reiki is a wonderful tool to open anything up. But if you want to use things like gemstones or crystals, you can try azurite, you can try blue calcite, lapis, one of my favourites.
I love lapis. It's got these beautiful little gold veins through it.
Gorgeous. And again, one of the sacred stones of the Egyptians, who were very spiritual people. Sodalite and clear quartz is very good for clarity. If you are a visionary and you are looking for something to help you to boost your energy whilst you're looking for people, for other people, you can use clear quartz, hold it in your hand, and also amethyst. That will help as well.
This is sort of that scrying stuff, isn't it? So so you can do this with tea leaves, and there's all sorts of things. People read coffee.
Yeah, well, they're just tools, the same as tarot. It's exactly the same. They're just tools, and then you can get more of an insight, I suppose, into it. The tea leaves make shapes in your mind. One person will see a dog in a cup, another person will see a butterfly, the same shape, but they'll see it in different ways. So that's just your intuition kicking in, and you're doing the reading. So it should always be from the person doing the reading, not to say that everything has to be the same. It's not a scientific thing. It's it's what you say to people. It's not science. It is virtually intuition. It is virtually whatever you see. So some people will look at a card spread and see something completely different, and the cards are just tools to be used. That's all it is. If you really want to boost that intuition, you can also burn oils whilst you're doing it. Jasmine, it's a very pretty one. Juniper, lemon, pine, hyacinth. There's quite a few of them actually that activates the third eye. And star anise. Very underestimated herb, that one.
It's a bit like licorice, isn't it?
I love it.
Oh, you love it.
I love it. Yeah. So eat licorice. That will help. Everybody should eat licorice.
I do like licorice, especially when it's covered in chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and bullets. I miss bullets so much. Okay. So when you're looking for, guidance, I suppose, on this level, and you'd like to maybe try some exercises to open your third eye, all of those things can help. So burning the oils, you can also use the crystals in your hand, so boosting that energy. But an open eye meditation with a candle is wonderful. So you stare at the candle flame, and you stare past the candle flame, and then that can help to activate your third eye. We do this exercise in the awakening course that I do, which is the aura one. You've done the awakening course, where you darken the room to a certain level. It's not completely dark, but you can just see the outline of people, sort of the shadowy outlines of people, and then you stare across the top of the head to the white wall behind them, and your third eye will switch on because it'll then start to see the colours around the aura.
It's incredible. I've been there for this, and a lot of people see it. There's usually, out of the whole group, there might be one or two that might not see the colours, but most people do, and they're blown away.
Everyone always sees a white line around because that is the ethereal body, and then the aura comes after that. So once you switch that on, then the third eye goes, oh, I know how to do this now, right? So then it tends to work every day. So I've had a lot of people say to me after doing that exercise that they're seeing auras around people and they're actually seeing other things. So that's a great one to do as well.
I do. I love the auras, seeing them, because you can see them around plants. You can see them around, even cars. Like, it's around everything.
It's a matter of not blinking and just staring, really. And that does switch the third eye on. You're also, by making the room darker, you're taking away the extra sort of stimulation from your brain. So you're just concentrating on doing the one thing. It's like a meditation in itself.
And we all know meditation is...
It is the key to everything.
Amazing, especially for opening up your third eye.
Yeah.
I do love the idea of watching a candle. It's really beautiful, and you can meditate on anything, can't you? Really, it could be a leaf or a piece of grass.
Correct. It's just a matter of quietening yourself, so it's not the monkey chatter in your mind anymore. So you're trying to take away from that by just staring at that one object and concentrating on that one object and shutting everything else out, all the noise.
Another thing I love to do is always play sounds in the background of the house. So what sound is your third eye?
So third eye is a musical note A. And so when you can... Oh, sound bowls. Have you seen the beautiful bowls?
Oh my gosh, there are some beautiful crystal bowls, and even metal bowls. Like, they all sound brass bowls.
Yeah. So you've got some of them that are obviously made to size, so that when you run the little wooden wand around the outside of it, it will actually vibrate to that particular sound, which can clear these chakras.
Isn't that interesting? Now I'm just thinking I do have one of these little bowls, and I'm pretty sure I've got the third eye one.
Well, dig it out.
I will make sure that it's clear, especially with more reading. So
we actually have, well, James actually has, but I've kind of adopted it, a crystal pyramid. And it's a hollow pyramid. It's just tubes of crystal, and it's on a string. And then you use a very soft mallet on the inside, and it makes the most incredible vibrational sound. And we pop it over the crown chakra of people, and they go, oh my God, it goes right through me. But it's amazing for clearing and just shattering any negativity that might be around.
Oh, sound is amazing. And speaking of sound, we're going to do a nice meditation that people can listen to.
Yes, definitely.
To open up your third eye. So take a moment to relax, find somewhere comfortable, take a few deep breaths, and we'll get into it.
Imagine yourself standing at the opening of a large cave. The cave seems welcoming and has a good vibration. You do not fear or feel any harm that can come to you here. As you move into the cave, you see a bright light. As you follow the corridors down to this light, you come into a magnificent crystal cave filled with clear quartz. This cave is bright in its colour and very high in vibration. You find a lovely flat crystal to sit on. And as you sit in this amazing energy, your third eye will switch on. Firstly, you feel a slight tingle in the centre of your forehead. And as the energy builds, opening the third eye, the burning sensation takes over. Your third eye completely open now. You are able to call upon your spirit guides to join you. You may get a vision of them. Look at their beautiful faces. They are all smiling at you. The colour purple washes through. The indigo blues and the ultraviolets. All of these colours are swirling around in your third eye, charging it. Your guides may have a special message for you today. Take notice of what they are showing you. One of your guides is giving you a very special crystal. Take notice of the colour, the size, and the shape of the crystal. This crystal will manifest in physical form for you, and you may find this crystal sometime in the near future. It's important that you purchase it and take it home with you, as this is going to help you. Always carry the crystal when you are doing any psychic visions or meditations. This is your crystal cave, where you can return and recharge whenever you wish.
Thanks for listening to the Divine Style Podcast. Please follow, share, and tune in weekly for more spiritual and self-love guidance. You can find out more and ask questions at gerlinda.com.au and alisonmaiden.com.